like God spoke to me and told me that to get my healing, I need to share my testimony and to also share it so I can help other people who have been through similar things or other things that they're afraid to speak on.
And I'm glad that you said the next part, because my next question for you is, what do you hope to gain from the podcast? And that was said beautifully by you, Tia. I believe that God is using you with what you have to say, the words that you have to say out of your mouth, and also your experience to help other people. So like I said already, I'm super, super excited for my god sister. I love her so much, and I'm so excited for her on this journey of healing, not just herself, but other people that really need to hear what she has to say. But the next question I wanted to ask you is, I'm like jumping the gun a little, but I want to ask you, what is one thing that you would change in your life? Like, as you told your story, what is one thing like about that? I don't want to say your whole life, but what is one thing about that kind of part of your life that you would hope that you would change, or that you wish was different?
Honestly, before this podcast, or before I came to do this podcast, I would say everything. But now that I have received my healing, and now that I have, spoke with God and thought my calling, I honestly would say nothing, because I'm gonna need tissue. I'm thankful for everything that I've been through. At first, I used to ask God a lot, like, why me? But now I am at a place where I thank Him for everything I've been through, and I'm not embarrassed, I'm not ashamed, and I forgive everyone who ever hurt me. I look at it as a testimony, and I look at it as I can help other people heal. Like, I was strong enough. Like they say, God give His battles to His strongest warriors, and I felt like He picked me because He knew at the end of all of what I've been through, I would be able to share and heal others.
As I've been like talking to Tia, like just us having conversation, talking on the phone, just about everything, I am always just so encouraged by like how pure her heart is with like everything, because I know if things like this would have happened to me, Talia, I also want you to speak on this, but if things like this happened to me, or something like this happened to me, I would be so bitter and I would be so angry personally. And I talk to my god sister, and there's like no bitterness like at all. Everything that she has to say is just because for her healing and her freedom and just needing to tell her story. There's no revenge, there's no like trying to get back at people. Everything that comes out of her mouth, it gives me chills because it's so pure. And I know that if it was me, I would be like, you know what, I hope they get theirs. And everything literally that comes out of her mouth is just always like, this is for me, forgiveness, this is for me. And I know that there's something bigger that God has for me, and I know that I have to cross this little rough patch to get there, and she's really committed to that. And Talia, I wanted to ask you, how would you feel if you went through a situation like this, and if you have been through a situation like this, tell us some more about that, and how you would feel, or how you do feel about your abuser, or just people that you've come in contact with that you've had conversation with about your story or your experience. How do you feel in your heart, or how do you wish you felt in your heart towards those people?
Yeah. So probably when I was about I did not know this is quite so hard.
Let it go.
When I was probably about 13 or 14, I was sexually assaulted while babysitting my aunt's children by a family member, and I reported it and told and did everything like that I was supposed to do. And what was really hurting is that the person, my abuser, his name is Kevin Davis, was my aunt Lynette had married a man named Mark Davis, and it was his brother. And he got arrested, and then the church, New Calvary, had accepted him to come into the church for, I guess, his forgiveness and salvation or whatever. I just have vague memories of that, and I recall my grandmother dropping the charges on him. and there was some type of comment that was mentioned, and I, you know, when I speak now, I'm 45, and this happened when I was 13 years old, so I don't want to say like I have 100% accuracy, so I want to make that very clear because I was a very young child. I just have bits and pieces of what stayed in my memory bank, and in my memory bank, what I recall from that situation was that my grandmother had made a comment that, well, maybe this happened because she has big breasts. And they dropped charges when I was a child. And he was a pedophile. And then after that, I just recall my family accepted him into their church. And you know, knowing now, like being a